welcome to you all at home.
Both McLaren start on the medium, feeling strong ahead of the race.
You've still got a chance to win this race, haven't you?
Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. Drive. Take it to the edge where I've lived 1,000 lives. Just
When I brake very late, to open up the left hand.
Fascinating race ahead.
Welcome to the penultimate day of pre-season testing here in Barcelona. For most of the drivers, their last day in the car before Melbourne. Lewis Hamilton had seen his teammate post the quickest time of pre-season, but he was made to wait for his chance on the soft tyres as changes were made to the W06. Meanwhile, Toto Wolff was explaining more about the situation with the World Champions contract. In terms of Lewis's contract, we're hearing all sorts of rumours at the moment about £1 million a week and things like that in salary. Where are you at right now?
I think these numbers you must question where you get the drugs from. I don't want to even comment this nonsense.
Not comment on the amount of money or where the contract's at the moment?
Not comment on the amount of money. We are in really good discussions with him. He wants to stay with the team and we want him to stay, and we are in good spirits, and contract negotiations are something which takes time, and we are positive. So this is pretty normal business. Don't forget we haven't even started the season and everybody's expecting a contract to be signed soon and putting pressure, and we are for us this has no influence in our discussions.
In terms of testing at the moment, how do you feel it's gone for Mercedes?
It's good, it's just testing. First couple of days were good. Now we are assessing a couple of things which we don't understand, but I guess this is the normal due course of business, and I guess in 2 weeks in Australia we're going to know more.
Are you where you'd want to be at the end of this pre-season testing?
No, you're never. It's rare that you are very confident where you are because it's still testing. You don't know what the real performance potential of the car is and what the performance potential of your competitors is, and this is why you need to be always very careful.
And everyone is careful in testing. We never really know the true pace, like you say, until you get to qualifying in Australia. But in terms of other people turning up their engines, do you think we've seen anyone run at full power and at full pace yet? And if so, do you feel confident you've got a decent enough advantage?
Nobody has run at full pace yet because the temperatures are cold. I doubt that somebody was really running completely empty in all qualifying modes. Lots of parts to come to the car with most of the team until the first race, and so this is why that is not the configuration we're going to see on the cars at Melbourne.
And just finally, if it does look like Mercedes have an advantage at the moment, if it ends up being the same as last year and it's between your two drivers, what one main thing did you learn from last year that you'll carry through to this year in terms of keeping them happy and avoiding any incidents?
There are many things to learn. You need to improve every year, and I think we want to communicate in a more transparent way with the drivers even more than we did last year. We need to be precise with what we say, and there's a learning curve, and also between the two of them, we've made various experiences last year, and we just need to sum it all up and do the right thing this year.
Elsewhere, the super soft tyres were going on, and Williams returned to the top of the timesheets with a 1:23.262 as Felipe Massa bettered his time of day one, but not the Mercedes time of day two. Compared to last year's car, last year's car ran pretty well. You had some great times. You even got on pole, the only team to do that. This year, what is stopping you winning the title?
Mercedes.
Is that the performances on track, or will you be allowed to win the title?
Oh, absolutely. No, I was talking purely about performance on track. No, I don't think they'll hold us back. Yeah, they've still got a good margin over everyone, and I think we've all got to work a little bit harder to try and pull that back. But I think 2014 was a fantastic year for Williams, and certainly we should all be proud of. But yeah, we sat there at Christmas thinking, well, we didn't win a race, and I don't want to be sitting there this Christmas thinking that.
Kimi Raikkonen also ran on the quickest compound, but his time of a 1:23.276, just 100th of a second behind the Williams. Ferrari did manage to do their planned race simulation during the afternoon's running, amongst a total of 136 laps for the day. Lotus had spent the morning aero testing and carrying out setup work, and Romain Grosjean took time out at lunch to speak to the media. Romain, this morning some aero testing, some setup work for you. How did it all go?
Yeah, it went pretty well. A lot of work, a lot of aero work and some setup items as well. So we try to assess as many things as we can before going to Melbourne, and then depending on the problems we have, we can choose the setup we have been trying in the winter testing.
Okay, what's the plan for this afternoon? Can you do a race simulation? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So a little bit of rest and then go in the car for a long run.
And where do you think you are in terms of the grid? When you see what the times others are putting on at the moment, where do you think you fit?
Well, I think the idea we have is pretty the truth we can see, and I think the only answer we're going to get is Melbourne qualifying.
And you're feeling today, going towards Melbourne compared to this time last year, more excited, looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think very, very much looking forward to it. It's been a long year last year, so, you know, for all of us, we deserve a little bit of great time.
Their running stopped short of a full race sim, but he still managed 106 laps around the Barcelona track. Sauber again broke the 100-lap mark, but broke down with just over half an hour left. Still, it had done 2 race simulations in 2 days. So Marcos is reliable, but is it going to be quick?
That's the question. I think overall we're positive, and I think we've done a really good pre-season, and we're going to Melbourne very well prepared, and hopefully the package will be strong enough to fight in the middle.
How much has the car changed over the 3 tests?
I think we've improved every test week. We made steps forward. We brought some updates all the time, and nothing major, but you know, small bits and pieces. But also we've been able to really scan the car with different setups. Really, because it's been so much running for us, we've been able to do that, which is really positive. So I think overall we made good steps every test week.
Is it going to change much between now and Melbourne, the car?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't think so, but I don't know.
Okay, and finally, that's your last day in the car. Might have a look tomorrow and stick around to see how Felipe gets on, but do you feel ready for Melbourne now?
I do. I think compared to 1 year ago when I went to Melbourne, it's a different world. I'm so much more prepared this year, so it's great. You know, it's been a really good pre-season for me and for the team, and I've done all the main things to prepare. You know, with race starts, pit stops, race simulations, shorter runs as well on softer rubber. So, to be honest, I feel 100% ready to go racing now.
Have a good week. We'll see you in Melbourne.
Thank you.
It was Nico Hulkenberg's last day in the Force India too, before he hands it over to Sergio Perez tomorrow. Aero work in the morning and a brief run on the Supersofts put in 4th quickest at lunch. And the afternoon was more laps for the seemingly unbreakable VJ-M08. Nico, 158 laps today. Pretty good day in the car for you. What's the potential, do you think, of that car?
Difficult. I knew this was coming now straight away. Heaven. It's difficult to tell. I think, first of all, impressions are good. I mean, straight out of the box yesterday in one afternoon, almost 80 laps now, 2.5 race distances today. No hiccups, no issues. That's very good and positive. And we were able to do some good and proper work already today. Be learning about the tires, about the car, playing around with the setup. It's a little bit similar to last year's car as well, so straight away we found a good base that we could work from.
What more do you need from the car?
It's always about grip, isn't it? Drivers want more grip to go faster through the corner.
Well, we'll line up, or you'll line up, for 2 weeks today for qualifying. Where do you expect to finish that qualifying? Do you think you'll get into Q3? Is the plan better than top 10?
I think it's impossible to judge that right now. With one day, obviously, it's going to be tough. I think we need to be, or we can be sure about that it's not going to be an easy one in Melbourne and a big challenge for us. But to be honest, you know, I'm very relaxed and open-minded. We go there as good prepared as we can be now with this limited running, and we'll just make the most of it at site in Melbourne then.
Just funny, what's the feeling in the team then? Because obviously when you come here for 2.5 days running, you're not going to expect a lot, but you've actually probably overachieved, have you, to what you thought you'd...
I think we've achieved a lot today. and I think everybody is as happy as he can be at the moment. Obviously, going back now, there's a lot of data. Tomorrow is another day with Checo in the car, so hopefully a lot more data, and then the engineers have a lot of stuff to go through between now and Melbourne. But yeah, like I say, I think it's difficult to give you an expectation or goal or something. I think we just go there and see where we are.
Kevin Magnussen was getting his first taste of the MP430 and managed 38 laps in the morning session. 1 lap after lunch, however, he returned to the garage and didn't emerge again. An oil leak stopped his running. Was that enough to be ready for Melbourne if needed? Kevin, you've tweeted that the car felt good, but how different did it feel to last year's car? What are the major differences?
It's really different. It's completely different car. It doesn't feel related to last year's car at all. Just much more consistent. Not as many surprises as last year's car. When you drive it, it's much more predictable and driver friendly, if you can say so. I really like it. It certainly seems like a good base for a really good car. So. There's plenty more to come, obviously, with everything, but I think McLaren should have a good car if they continue this direction.
You got 39 laps in today, and that's all you'll get if you get in the car in Melbourne. Is that going to be enough for you? Any concerns if you do have to replace Fernando?
Don't know. It's not really. I'm not thinking about that so much. It's of course I want to drive, desperately want to drive, but. It's not that I want to drive in that way that Fernando is not well, so I should get back to Formula One when in a better way. I hope, I want to drive, but I hope that Fernando is going to be well, and of course if he doesn't drive, I'll be happy to drive. But yeah, I'm not too worried about that situation right now.
And if I can ask you, from what you've seen, and you've been around testing as well, what's your front 3 rows in Melbourne?
Say again, sorry?
What's your front 3 rows in Melbourne? Top 6 places on the grid for the start of the race in Melbourne?
Say Mercedes, Williams and Ferrari, probably.
And where do you think McLaren will be?
That's hard to say. They're probably, maybe in qualifying, you probably get to see the true pace right now, but there's going to be so much more to come that it's even from now to Australia, there's going to be a lot more time put in the car. So, it's going to be faster from now until Australia. So, very hard to say.
How frustrating has this testing been? You took a great step forward yesterday and then a step back again today.
You have to be over this, It's true that yesterday was a trouble-free day. Today is back with another trouble, but we have been cautious and make sure we can do another good day tomorrow, which is more important. Even for the team morale, to leave Barcelona and head off to Australia with some positive momentum, let's say.
What percentage would you say of your programme have you managed to get through that you wanted to get?
I've been quoted 50%, so I would lie if I say less or more, so let's say less.
It was 50% in Jerez when we spoke to you, but there's been some troubled times since then as well, which you probably wouldn't have forecast. So still around 50%, you said?
Yeah, I think so. Everybody wants to have a number, so I have to put a number. But if you do a test plan and you run or you cover only 50% of the laps, obviously I guess 50% has not been covered, but the reality is maybe much more because there is some sign-off in reliability which may hurt us, which has not been done. At the same time, as I said before, we have signed off all the performance part of the car, and for that there is a lot of positive.
Lewis Hamilton did get out again after a 4.5-hour wait. And on a slower track than the previous day, he topped the times once the soft tyres were on. His 1:23 dead was 0.2 slower than his teammate had managed on the same tyre, although Hamilton had been quickest on the mediums. Lewis, you seem to get unlucky today. All the teams seeming to find the track a bit slower today than it has been previous days. Looks like being quicker tomorrow as well. So how would you sum up your running today?
Today wasn't the greatest, but to be honest, it was just really the track. We were trying to understand all of a sudden the car was feeling worse than my first day. And then we made some changes to try and understand why that would be the case. And I think something's happened with the track or with the tyres, but so it wasn't great in that respect. But otherwise, we got some running. I feel good in the car. So.
Only Daniel Ricciardo of today's drivers gets another run out tomorrow. For the rest, it's a plane home and time to pack the suitcase for Australia. We'll round up the final day of pre-season testing in Paddock Uncut at the same time tomorrow, and we'll have live updates throughout the day on Sky Sports News HQ.